Not even throwing hard, I'm just trying to be fast. There's a little bit of initiation here. I'm not trying to be as much as I can. I'm just trying to be as sudden as I can. Sometimes the cues matter more than what the muscles are actually doing. Something a little different for today. Instead of telling you what you should do or what's best, I think I'm just going to show you what I do. And if you take anything away from it, you see something you like, try it out, great. If not, hope it's entertaining. Let's get started. I've already done a warm-up on the bike, but for my shoulders, I'm going to do a little bit of work on the double end bag. And this one's a double end. This is the most valuable piece of home equipment that you could have as maybe not a beginner, maybe a heavy bag would be more appropriate, but for intermediate, advanced, this is the one. Heavy bag, you can train power, but it's very easy to turn yourself up. It is not as easy to throw in defensive movement, reacting to something coming back at you, and even placement too, right? I can bludgeon the target to the side, or I can clip it and spin it. So you get to practice a few different things. Okay. Just warming up. Something I have to remind myself of every single time. Now, obviously with the backstop here, this thing is not gonna come out super far, so I have to lean a little bit, but still good muscle memory. I have it anchored to a kettlebell on the ground, so when it gets a little too fancy, it starts moving around a little bit. Ooh, missed. Okay. That's enough. All right. I like to throw backhanded strikes, hammer fists. They don't score in competition, but there's a reason it's the first thing they teach you in Krav Maga. It's very easy and natural to particularly for me with a bad back, I can't do heavy overhands and really torque myself, but I can still get an overhead sort of strike with a hammer fist. Very little damage or pain to me. Lots to the double end bag. Ooh, little miss. I've been playing around with lead elbows a lot. I don't love the heavy twisting, again, for my back, but it's also very sneaky, right? I can throw this punch, and then if I want to abandon it in the middle and just crash in, I can. Especially if they're firing back, I like to stick that elbow out there as a deterrent. Ooh. The belt's coming undone. Okay. Okay. Let's get a little more active, shall we? And by we, I mean me. I like to practice palming as well. Not just as a palm strike, but delivering damage forward is not the only thing you might want to do, right? I might want to create some distance and use this person or their face, shoulder as leverage. Like a punch, but I'm picking up my feet so I move, not them. And I can still commit pretty hard to this. It doesn't give me the same bone conditioning as hitting something with a lot of mass, but you can still throw hard. And then when you miss, it feels like a real miss. Hey! Hey! Oosh! Oosh! See here, I can do a ball of the foot kick here. I can go up at an angle, right, kind of underneath the chin. You can even, I don't love throwing this one, but you can throw a heel forward front kick. I just feel like I miss and I have to really reach to get that heel in front. I'm trying to, without a huge stance shift, pick up the foot, put it in the face. Hey. Hey. Not even throwing hard, I'm just trying to be fast. And there's a little bit of initiation here. Not trying to be as much as I can. I'm just trying to be as sudden as I can. Sometimes the cues matter more than what the muscles are actually doing. Whoop. If you want to play for accuracy, you can throw a hook, get it moving, try and catch it, right? If you hit with good accuracy, it should only move forward and back. Shouldn't do a lot of rotating. If you hit it off to the side either way, it begins to move. Or spin, which gets you a deflecting blow. So, very good. Again, you can control those two things with the double end bag in a way you can't with Bob over there. Sorry. I feel pretty warm. Now, I know, maybe you don't, that I have a long history in the bodybuilding, powerlifting space. So I don't want you to think I'm biased when I say this, but if you are a martial artist and you do not spend time conditioning your body, you have missed the point, right? Of course, technique is a force multiplier. Technique is, I would say, the most important thing, all other things considered. But if your bones aren't strong enough to deliver all the force that you can, and you shatter your hands, well, I type for a living, so that would be a problem. So again, if you are not doing some at least basic conditioning, working on the muscles that you will need to call upon in those emergencies, you're missing the point. It's more of a moving meditation or, a cultural practice maybe, but if your aim is to really be prepared physically for a fight, you have to condition yourself. Don't have to like it, but that's why most people don't get that far or don't get the results they want, because it's hard. In that vein, I'm going to, in lieu of a jump rope, I like to do the same sort of ballistic bouncing because it's very practical. But I like to move my feet around more in sort of the stances I would take versus, doing tricks. Enough talking. So I'll start pretty easy, just keeping a little bit of stiffness at the ankle. My heels are still touching the ground every time. In fact, let me show you. Do too much talking. So here my knees are really soft. I'm not really jumping up, I'm just sort of coming off the ground. Staying sort of underneath my shoulders here. And then from here, I'm going to shift more weight onto the left or right leg, kind of hopping in place, just increasing the load a little bit more on each one, practicing a little asymmetrical balance in the core here. I feel my abs going pom, 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 pom. Might get a little bit quicker. I can hear all of the water I drank sloshing around. I'd switch stances. And the point isn't necessarily for me to stay in my stance perfectly like all of the karate people, but to explore some ranges, add some weight shifting, stutter stepping, trying to stay light on the feet and not really committing to any one direction too much. I'm always kind of in between so I can push off, push, push, switch, switch, right? It's all about adaptability and flow. And I'll do some single leg, really work on that ankle stiffness. And now my heels are not touching the ground. They're moving, for sure. If it was completely solid, I would probably rip or break something. A little bit of give to hit that hard, elastic rebound. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm not trying to jump up as much as I'm trying to spend as little time on the ground as possible. And I try not to go into it with too much of a plan. Because a fight is not something you can plan. Half of the exhaustion comes from going, oh no, that wasn't what I was planning, break, and then turn. If you can get over that, and instead of putting the brakes on and reversing, you just kind of change the direction of the momentum. It's faster, right? If I commit, it's way harder for me to then back out versus push off, use some of that momentum, right? In a game of inches, seconds, maybe milliseconds, that time not having to stop and reverse and build up that speed, sometimes that can be too much, too long, and that's why you get hit. Okay, so I like to channel a little bit of Dominic Cruz. I don't even know what I'm going to do. So how is my opponent supposed to know if I don't? A little faster. Really trying to stay low. Everything's still pretty loose though. I'm not tight. I'm just letting the natural elasticity keep me up. It kind of feels like instead of jumping like this, I'm jumping like this. If that makes any sense. Okay. Another minute or two. One thing that I do with a lot of my students is something called fast feet. Now, if you played football or you've taken one of my classes, you already know what this looks like. So what I'm going to do here is pick up my feet as fast as I can. Right, so I'm barely lifting off. Like you won't even be able to see it. But the idea is to pump the legs as fast as you can. Everything else remains like this. I did this in one of my kids' classes, and one of the boys, he must have been 5, maybe. We do the fast feet. And he makes a very loud observation. He said, and I quote, "My booty is shaking," which is true. It is definitely something you feel when you're doing fast feet. You need to be loose to move quick. I think he caught on in that I wasn't wanting him to repeat that, right? So of course he did. So instead of, "I'm shaking my booty," he just goes around to all the parents sitting there, "I'm shaking my booty, I'm shaking my booty." This. I wasn't prepared for that. What am I? How do I handle? I mean, it's not discipline. It's just not appropriate. But he's 5, so how does he know? Okay. A couple rounds of fast feet. I haven't done this in a long time, so not my fastest of feet. That's why we're here. Ready? Point is not to kill yourself doing this. The point is to move as fast as possible. So if your speed has decreased beyond, I don't know, if your speed is 75% or less than your max, you're not really doing speed work. And even then, I'd probably say like 85%. So be fast, do it right, take a break, do it again. Perfect reps. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Ready? Whoo, just a little bit. Just waking myself up and probably the neighbor. We'll do one more. I don't know if you can see it, but the fast feet is slowly pulling the mats apart. Whoo! All right. All right, last one. Woo! Okay. All right. Before I move into the karate, I'm going to do a little front lever work. We'll see where I'm at. I haven't done this in a while. So to prep, I'm going to do a set here on the rings so I can get a really full range of motion on the dip stand parallel bars. I don't know why I'm looking over the mics here. On the dip stand parallel bars, I don't have enough room to fully hang. So I like to prep that part of my musculature, at least here. Warming up is important. Everyone told me that. I didn't listen. I hurt myself. And just like I'm telling you now, you're not going to listen. And you're going to hurt yourself. And then one day you'll say, you know, all those old timers were right. It's a canon event. You can't change it. You can't fight it. So I just await you on the other side with ibuprofen and some kinesio tape. Okay, so right now I'm just getting my lats and scapula activated where they're going to need to be. I'll be in sort of this position on the bars. This is also extremely good for the serratus anterior, the boxer's muscle, right? I credit my pullovers and Palov presses and front levers with the reason I have such outstanding serratus muscles. Okay. You know, I'm actually also going to do a little balancing. I have some asymmetry needs in terms of core strength, but this is also a good exercise to work on your balance and to really get deep into the inner glute muscles that you hardly really hit otherwise. Particularly in martial arts, there's like no hamstring or glute development whatsoever. It's all quads and triceps. Click here for my TED Talk. Okay. So I'm just going to take this leg up, flat back, until I feel a really deep stretch from my hamstring into the glute. And then from there, I'll squeeze my glute down to initiate the rise. Okay, I'm not moving back with my back. It's all here. It feels like I'm going like this. Right? Don't take that out of context. Okay. So balance here, really deep stretch. Initiate the strong push here. I'm keeping my abs together to protect my low back. I'm trying not to tip my pelvis this way or that way, right? A lot of times when you lift one leg up, you tend to tip towards that side. It feels more secure, but then you're twisted. Getting twisted is for Saturday night, not Saturday morning. Okay. And I'm not trying to burn myself out or, do some sort of muscle mass routine for this. I just want to get deep into those muscles, the small muscles that don't have really huge growth potential, but have the most bang for your buck in terms of stabilization, injury reduction, mobility. And see, I'm not even really bending over that far, right? I'm not going full flat back because I feel a stretch earlier. So it's not as cool looking, but for me, that's appropriate, right? The goal is to be as appropriate for yourself, not necessarily to do what I do or that I should be doing something that, one of the world champions does. Okay. I've let my back relax a little bit. Let's try some front lever. We will be discovering how well I can do this today together at the same time. Okay, so just a little dip stand. These can tip over easily if you are inspired to get one. So just keep that in mind. I like to step on the support bar when transferring my weight. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, we'll try for a tuck first. That means legs up here. Okay, not bad. Doesn't feel that hard. So that's good. The next step will be, instead of super tucked, to extend the pelvis a little bit, so that instead of being tucked under and everything kind of being here, you lengthen at the back so that the weight is here versus here. Little steps. Has to be done by degrees. Okay. Attempt 2. Little untucked tuck. Okay, here we go. Okay, significantly harder. I would say maybe twice as hard, twice as much concentric force. That's how it feels. And again, normally I wouldn't be coming up to this sort of position. I would have my arms fully extended, but fortunately the ground is too close. So, and the bars, the freestanding bars, they're just a single line, unless they have a huge footprint, which this doesn't. Anything outside of vertical is going to tip you over, and you might be upside down during that. And falling down upside down is bad. So, okay. The next step for me would be a partial tuck with one leg extended. This is one step before my best PR, which is a straddle. I've never done the full front lever for like a good 2 seconds, which is the legal amount for like a gymnastics iron cross or something, a competition, but gotten pretty close. And I'm lighter by about 25 pounds from the last time I tried this. So sometimes that's the key. It's not that I'm too weak, it's that I'm carrying too much crap. Okay, I'm gonna go tuck first and then extend the leg just in case. Whoop. I don't know what that tip looked like to you, but it felt pretty scary to me. Okay, I'll do maybe one more. Actually, you know what? You convinced me. I'm gonna give it a shot on the rings. We'll see what happens. I need to make room for my large ancient Egyptian alien-shaped head to go through the gap here. Again, not the most ideal, but you don't need ideal. You only need just enough. Okay, I'm gonna move this. I will take your strength from you, Bob. Thank you. All right. Some front levery pull-ups. I don't know what you call these. little half resting posture. Okay. Woo! All right. Today I'm looking at Shisochin, one of my favorite Goju katas. It's sort of unique. You get to do some stuff you don't normally do, a lot of open hand. I'll just show you. Once through. Shisochin! Whoops. Fast. The microphone can't even keep up. Okay. Okay. So here, this is sort of a kamae, which is like a ready stance, right? It's kind of like your guard. Hands are open, sort of with this not force, but a little bit of pressure outwards, right? This is your frame here. Drawing in through the center. This is a nukite, which frankly, I don't really agree with as a martial arts technique. I mean, maybe in Okinawa 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago, whatever, you could get away with using your fingers as weapons, but I got to type, I got to text on the phone, you know. Sometimes you have to pick between creating a rugged, impenetrable weapon and fine-tuned dexterity control, right? Okay, so nukites. Now, depending on your school of thought, you'll do these maybe as two motions, right? Some people do it quickly just to like skip and appear faster, but I really like the idea of as soon as you get the strikeout, you're already, as you're finishing delivering the force, you're already pulling back in into your frame. And this is a little bit of an outward movement. So you draw through the center, frame out, right? 1, 2, 1, 2. There's a little bit of this, but when you're moving really fast, it's really just like the floppiness of your arm returning that is that portion. You can get right there real quick. 1, 2, 3. Here. Down. Okay, this is, I mean, there's always going to be a million bunkai for everything. One of the obvious ones, which is how you should treat bunkai, go for the obvious stuff, is someone's got a double collar grab on you, come up, grab the sleeves, grab the wrists, break it down, maybe bring your knee into it, right? I don't know if that's the bunkai. I'm going to say it though, because I'm sensei today. All right, here, here. Sort of a double gate on. We see this in Seiyunchin, right? Some other kata. Here, boom, and then this double-handed open strike here, right? So one sweeps down, one sweeps in, always covering your center, In karate, we are quite redundant. Okay, so double check yourself here. Boom. And then the next movement is slide up here, retract here, right? So take this one, slide up. I pull this hand back as I bring the arm across. And it's not that I'm chopping, it's that this is connected to my core and I throw everything with it, right? So it's not this, it's this, short, like most of Goju. Here, slide, 1, 2. And then you do the same thing the other side, right? Come in that. The top goes down, the bottom goes up, 1, slide, 2. And again, this is coming with the hip. It's the same thing. All I do is kind of gesture a little bit with the elbow. Okay, so it looks cool, but there is a point to this. I'm going to use Bob. Bob, thank you once again. Bob has not agreed to this in any way, and he forgot his white belt. He will do push-ups after class. Okay, so here, right, someone comes in, or they've got you, split the guard here, this way. So it's maybe a little bit easier from this angle. You can't see that at all. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so clear this one. Press out with the other, right? Same energy as like an outside block, soto uke here. Now I've opened him up. This is one thing. Now, the kata continues with the swipe up this way. What I was taught here, I have opened him up, but now, as is most people's instinct reaction, they've grabbed on, right? So I've split the guard, but now they have control of this wrist here. So with the opening I have across our bodies, I slide this hand underneath here to the outside, right? So even if he's got my wrist here, I'm going to end up on this side. Okay. So slide up. You can either try and break, or what I like better is to grab, and then you turn this into an arm bar here. Let me try and show that from this other angle. Okay. Bob and I are fighting. Split the guard. God damn. The only thing I'm splitting is my own microphone. Okay. All right, take 2, Bob. Split here. Turn the wrist over. I've got my wrist bone hooking over his wrist. He grabs this wrist. I sneak underneath here again because I've opened this lane here. Underneath to the outside of both mine and his arm. Even if I have my eyes blinded, right? I can follow my own arm up to his wrist. Grab. Once I've, and this is sort of a at the same time movement, right? So he's got me. You're going to, as you get control, twist over here, pull towards the wrist, right? So you end up locking at his hand, and then retract just enough, right? The kata comes here, but realistically, you just want to get this around to the outside so that you can reinforce this way, right? Show this angle. Maybe it'll get the arm bar better. Split the guard. 1, he grabs, sneak underneath here. And as Bob is demonstrating, thank you so much, Bob, you can continue this movement if you can get above the elbow joint here, or maybe towards the shoulder even. You can really drive that person down if you pull them to where you're standing, right? I'm standing here. I'm going to put Bob where I'm standing, okay? I split the guard 1, grab the wrist 2, arm bar, put him down where I was. Did we put a hole in the wall? No. Yes. Excellent work, Bob. Thank you. Okay, but you don't need to throw him, right? Even a good pop to the elbow when it's extended to hyperextend it. I mean, you can break something for sure, but it will not feel good. This person will not feel very powerful. So, right, split, 1, 2, bam. Even if I just, for a moment, I don't even have to really turn over, right? I can use a sort of an uratsuki uppercut palm right here. Might even be better. Split here, just straight up. Pop. Like that, right? Boom, boom. Not going to feel good. That's the sort of generic first, lowest hanging fruit bunkai for this, right? So, thank you, Bob. So you do your 1, 2, 1, and I am switching my feet in this. So a lot of people don't like the circular footwork. I think it's kind of practical. Not necessarily you always walk like this, but developing that pulling in and pushing out the musculature. We rarely get those muscles really involved. So I think it's very good. And to teach you to draw within yourself and always return to your center axis more than moving out here, right? You can control yourself. I can always go out again, but here I can collect myself and now I can move in more directions. So, 1, make sure you can see my feet. 1, right? I'm picking this up. I'm switching my hips over. Boom. Then draw the foot in and out, right? This could, I mean, you could make an argument for this being sort of an ashibarai foot sweep kind of thing. I kind of like it. I think it's reaching. All right, so here, 1, 2, and then we draw in for this elbow. Something we do a lot in Goju that I really like is the vertical elbow. I mean, I talked about it earlier with the double end bag, but it just covers a lot of bases, right? Even if you don't hit, you're still in a shielded posture, and you have a very sharp, very robust weapon sticking out in front of your face. So worst case scenario, even if you crash in, you have a good frame here. Maybe you can get, overhook. So I really like that. This presentation is it's a little extra for me, but welcome to karate, right? So from here, step across and do this series of blocks. I'll just do the second one so you can see. As I come across, I block across my own face. As I draw this hand up into the chamber position, it's one thing. Here, I step across. As I come in, the elbow cuts in here, and the hand just wraps around, right? So 1, step across, elbow in, I'm drawing up, and then at the same time that I press down, I'm going to press both of these out. And I continue to press down here, right? I'm lifting those fingers, A, because the kata calls for it, and B, it's good for your wrists. We do a lot of this, not a lot of this. You can see I can go really far this way, but not that way. We all have strengths and weaknesses, okay? So 1, across the face, and it's not just my hand, it's everything. Everything crosses the face, crosses the midline, and I open with the hips too. So when I go to the next side, draw in, elbow leads. At the same time, I'm drawing up. 1, and I'm kind of over crossing in my hips because again, I'm not twisting my upper body. This is all happening in the hips. I feel those glutes that I worked on earlier driving this. I stretch the glute, contract, stretch, contract. Okay, so 1, 2, and sort of face, collarbone area. Okay, again, elbow leads, draws, both draw in. One, and both are sent out along with the hips. Right? You can stay extended, you can come back. That's sort of a stylistic choice. Cross, even here. As I turn, the arm comes in. Right? It's like an ice skater. Draw in to move faster. Here. All right. Then we have kakyuke, hooking block. This is essentially just getting the outside of your wrist hooked around a spot. So instead of sliding, I can kind of control that a little bit. Even if I don't have a grip, I still get a little bit of pull. So kakyuke 1, front kick, lead elbow. Again, we're seeing all the stuff that I was talking about earlier. Okay? Some karate is practical. Here. And I'm just keeping this really close, again, on the midline, keeping everything in tight, right? I'm not out here. I'm in my protective frame. I step kakyuke 1 and then put us on the correct side. We do a second kakyuke here. One thing I love about karate, we train both sides in the kata, so I really like the balance. Okay, front kick, another crashing elbow. The belt is to hold up your pants too, okay? Just lost a little weight since I wore these. Okay. So, kakyuke 2 here. Front kick. Then a very quick stance shift. So, I'm going to keep my feet where they are and kind of switch them. The way I feel this works the best is not to do both at the same time. It looks good for kata, but I'm not really competing anymore. So I care about the principle more than the aesthetic. I actually think the aesthetic is worse. Personally, that's just my own thing. Again, welcome to my TED Talk. So here, and then I'm doing sort of a switch step, boom, boom. Again, like I was doing before, the dominant cruise bullshit, okay? Here it is again. So, elbow here. This arm's going to come up, and this arm is going to fold into my center. And I'm not pulling my hand here. I collapse everything in. Okay? Wapa. 1, 2. What the 1, 2 gives me is some falling forward, right? If I hop like this, I'm just moving in place. But I don't want to deliver the force in place. I want to deliver it forward. So, for the same reason we come crashing down here, I'm going to crash and fall into it this way. If you're fast enough, no one will really notice. Everyone's looking up here anyway. So, follow your heart. All right, I'll show you the backside. So, I've just gone left, the stance shift. Okay. Now, little off bounds. Okay, so I cross here. Usually the acting arm crosses in front here. Cat stance is sort of a retreating posture. Okay, so again, let's say someone's grabbed you, right? Like this. You are going to throw your hands to your sides like you are scraping this palm down. 1, 2. It feels a little awkward at first here. But if you throw the hands down the moment you begin moving, you have time to then get those suckers up again. And you want them kind of high. You want the fists, not here, but sort of in your protective, right? I don't want to wake up in a coma spots. Okay? So cross, 1, 2, and then directly into the double hand block from before. Same thing, right? Slide up. And as I slide, I'm turning, folding into that hip so that I can get a really big out. Here, 1. And then other side, this lead elbow here. I don't love this little posture, Welcome to Kata, all right? Some of it looks a little strange, feels a little strange. It's the principle that matters more. So from here, draw up within yourself, within your frame. I'm bent at the knees. I'm collected. I'm small here. And then it ends. I'll do the other side. Here. Now, what is this? I'm going to say a derivation of what we talked about before. It's, don't get your head too far up your ass about the bunkai. Okay? 1, here, down. Let's try it again. The key to speed here is to have life in your hands and arms, not tension. Okay? So if I squeeze this as hard as I can, I'm not going to be as fast as possible, right? But if I extend some energy into them so that they are continuously reaching, right? I'm not thinking, put this out there. I'm thinking, reach. That gives me the extension. The tension only really happens kind of here, and all of this is relaxed for maximum speed and whip. Okay? So, in this first series, I'm going to draw slow. Hip goes first, little delay. Bump, bump. As soon as I'm hitting here, my hip is pulling back. 1 motion. All right? Shisochin. Okay, and Goju, do not forget your dragon's breath. If you know what I'm talking about, you don't need this. But if you don't, I don't breathe for show, although it kind of is a little bit. Again, it's a principle, right? It's diaphragmatic breathing. The exhale is not happening up here. It's happening here. Right? It's not, it's down here, down beneath your throat, in your chest cavity. Okay, so, and that little flex you're seeing are my abdominals with the breath. Okay, in Goju, you'll often hear the first one. You rarely hear the second one. I think it's an old school thing, a little more old school. So I go, let it go. I'm not staying stiff. I'm punching out with my breath the same way. Punch out with the arms, okay? So again, the keys for me here are staying inside your frame. The more out here you get, the more time it takes, right? You want it to be as short as possible. And Goju-Ryu is a close quarters style. It is short. It is in here. It is where you can grab, okay? These short range techniques. Thank you, Bob. Get out of the way. That doesn't mean you don't fully extend your strikes. It just means you don't be dramatic about it, right? I'm not going, okay? A lot of kata is performative, but that's a choice you can make. I have gone to tournaments doing the old school version of kata, and I've gotten what I believe is bonus points from the old guys that recognize that style and they respect it, even though it's not the fastest, the most optimal looking, perfect Shotokan lines. But again, it's the principle. And if you value the principle more than the looks, I think you're doing pretty good. What else do I want to talk about? Not a lot. I mean, again, it's the principles that this kata has that are more important. It looks cool. It feels cool. That's awesome. Those are good enough reasons to practice. But the open-handed nature, again, just lends for more grabbing, more opportunities, more tools. And this kata really makes you reinforce the things that make you fast, direct, staying in here, right? I'm not doing this big thing. It's within my frame, and even when I'm here, right, I'm still in line with myself. So I'm strong, right? I'm not strong here. I'm strong here. Would you rather catch a baby like this or like this? Okay, I don't know why I went there, but if you're, in France on the subway and you see someone toss a baby at you, not only are you going to want to catch it, but those are pickpockets, okay? So they're counting on you being saddled with the baby. I'm probably going to cut this section. Okay, so I'll just go through a couple of the key spots that I feel I get the most out of. One of them is these. It really lets me work on this wave function that goes through the body. The hip draws back and then the arm comes through. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hope you can see that. If your belt is not moving back and forth when you do this, you're not doing it right. Okay, here, and again, a lot of this action is happening in this front hip, folding and stretching, pushing out. Boom. So I push the hip out, push the hip out. I fold at the hip and let it stretch here. I'm tense and I push out again to initiate the pulling recoil. Really, really ass heavy, okay? Here. Hip pushes out, folds in, pushes out. I'm centered. Here. Hip, arm, hip, arm, hip, arm. Okay, then there's the speed of this guy. A lot of times, crossing, you can get tangled up. Some of that just takes practice and really, karate reinforces this all the time. We're always passing our arms directly behind or in front of each other. So that's all I'm doing here. I just need this arm bent enough that I can fit this hand through here. So if I'm fully square, I'm extended, right? But if I'm just out, tiny bit. Elbows are just in this pocket here. You can quickly move that. Okay, do not hit yourself on purpose. The reason you hear that is because you're getting so close because you're doing the technique correctly, not that you're trying to be one of these guys that goes, ay, ay. Oh, I hit the air so hard that it made that noise. How stupid do you think we are? Okay. So, 1, 2. I'm using the out here to throw this arm. So I'm not using a lot of shoulder. I'm just sort of keeping my elbow sort of pinned in this position, and I'm letting the hand kind of swing around. It's pretty floppy, right? Until I need to extend. It's going along for the ride. Okay. So 1, 2. Here. Again, hip. Here. Even this hand, I'm really throwing it down, right? I'm not going carving the space. I'm just like I'm doing this. Like that. Here. That's neat, but you get that other places. And then the crashing elbows, I think, are really important. So we have kakyuke 1 here, front kick, elbow. I mean, this is something we talked about in Krav Maga all the time, is keeping these frames, right? If you keep your arm at a pseudo 90-ish degree, it's a pretty strong structure. So even if you don't land with the elbow, let's say you don't. Let's say you don't practice very often because you don't listen to me, and you're not very accurate, right? Even if I miss, right? I want to hit Bob in the chin. I want him to kick back so that when they replay it on the news, he looks really dumb and I look really cool. But I might miss. He might step back. I might slip. So maybe you land here. Maybe you land here. Maybe you land kind of low, right? Even if you don't do damage. Here, now I have a connection point to him. So I can turn this elbow into a frame, which allows me to keep him from closing this distance. I have a pretty strong structure here. I can sort of negate one side and control another here. And I can grab his lapel. I can pull him into a knee. I can foot sweep, right, this way. So I can do a lot here. And in terms of weapon disarms, this is another thing we talk about a lot. Like if someone has a baseball bat and they swing at you, you do not want to back up to the more effective range of the baseball bat, right? If you get hit at the end, it's way worse than getting hit here. That's the principle. So, what do? First, you fix your pants. So, I land in here with this frame. Okay. He comes in with the baseball bat with his right. Most people are right-handed. They're going to swing this way. I want to get in past the effective range of the baseball bat so that now he just has a stick. And from here, I can take the stick from him if I need to, or just control this arm, right? Now his stick is behind me, and all he can do is, like some of that. Okay, so it's just a really good principle to practice, especially after a front kick. Boom, right? The kakyuke here, you hook, use that, boom, kick underneath, and then bam, crash in. Wherever you land, it's going to hurt, or maybe it just put some momentum into him. So maybe it's more of a push. Who cares? All right. Takyuke, 1, 2. All right. I can get under there. Really underneath the chin. I can just put it in his face and kind of spear him with it, right? A lot of options. And you don't have to be exact, which, for all the technical emphasis I put on things, being effective is more important than being exact, right? Maybe if I don't clip him on the chin, I still bludgeon him. I'd rather you bludgeon him than spend 50 hours perfecting your close range hook that we talked about in the other video. Okay, so stay within your frame. All right. Use your hips to generate the drive so that your arms can be relaxed vehicles of momentum. Okay. It's kind of like you're going like this. Okay. The principle. Don't copy me. Frame for frame. All right, Bob. Do you understand? Yeah, I worry that you don't understand. All right, since you got me thinking about it, I'm going to finish with a little bit of basics, trying to use that principle. Really get my ass into it, okay? So... trying to get here before I drive up and out. Here, it takes a little bit longer. Key is to be relaxed. Yeah. That's why you get two. Okay. God damn. Okay. Okay, that's fine. I can actually go for it, I guess. I'm pretty relaxed, however it looks. And I'm sort of in a furodachi, okay? Knees are bent. I don't really care, all right? I'm trying to get the principle. All right. You Shotokan sticklers out there, I don't want to hear it. Should feel like floppy iron. I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm firm here, but I'm not tense. I just have enough energy in the fist that radiates up the arm. Strong stance. Sometimes it's worth backing off your top speed to work on the principles. Okay. Let's try it with the shuto. See, I'm still, even though I've got a square stance, I'm still turning my hips into it a little bit. Couple more. Okay. Too dense. Let's have this feeling. I meet myself like I'm flopping my arms, flop, throw it out. And then you just minimize that. All right, I've had enough. I'm sure you have too. Till next time.